through training okay today?
Yeah, no, everyone got through training.
Positive that Tomo is going to be good to go, no risk there?
Oh, there is some risk. He hasn't played a game, so we're about to have match committee now, so we'll have that discussion. Both him and Kerridge got through training. Kerridge has played one NAB Cup game. Thompson hasn't played any, so that'll be the discussion.
You don't seem to get nervous, but as the first game sort of approaches, are you getting excited?
Yeah, I've had that question a little bit this week from people, not just from journalists. I'm excited in footy all the time. This is what I like to do. Round one, it's been a long wait, but it's now time to perform. So I'm looking forward to performing. Coaches need to perform just like players. So this is what I do. I'm very comfortable with it. Probably not excited because I know it's a long season. If you put all your efforts just into round one, you can be very short-sighted.
So just looking forward to doing what you like doing?
No, exactly that. I enjoy being in the coach's box. I've been in the coach's box for a long period of time as an assistant coach. I understand my role as a senior coach. I'm looking forward to it.
Phil, you picked your first side, or you're just about to finish and tidy up all those bits. What's it been like putting all those pieces together now? And I'm sure there's still a couple of things you've got to tick off. But how's that process been for the first time overseeing it all?
Yeah, I've probably been thinking about that team from day one I walked through the door, Sodas. So I have to listen to the other coaches though as well. So it's not just my team, it's what works from a coaching group, and we'll pick that right now. So I've got my ideas, we'll have a nice healthy debate, and then we'll come up with a team that we think can beat North Melbourne on Sunday.
Talking about North Melbourne.
That's all right, Jasper.
How much do you look back at the history of Crows playing North Melbourne? Is it relevant, or do you start fresh when you face them again?
No.
You look at what they do, but...
No, I watched both games yesterday from last year. I was actually down there last year for the game in Hobart.
Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah, I watched the NAB Cup game again. So there's 3 of those games I've watched. There are some things, you know, they made a preliminary final last year, so they're not going to change a lot of things. So there are some things there that we expect to see on Sunday. I'm sure Brad's probably got a couple of things I haven't seen as well.
What about the fact that, and how do you take this from Port? Port build a reputation of finishing very strongly. Crows probably the opposite a little bit before you arrived. How do you change that? Does it take time?
I remember a game last year, second showdown, they finished pretty strongly, the Crows. Yeah, so I don't think you can say that across the board. The main thing though is what the scoreboard says at the end of the day. I don't care whether we storm home or not. I'm just very interested to see what the numbers are on the scoreboard at the end of the game, and I'm hope we've got more points than our opposition.
Yeah, confident that side is better placed right now than when you first walked in the door?
Yeah, I've seen, there's probably some things I didn't think were inside the club that now I have seen inside the club. There's some other things though that I see, gee, we need to fix that up as well. There's no perfect list. Even Hawthorn, I'm sure, have got a few things where they think, gee, we're a little bit vulnerable in that area. So there's no perfect list. There's some things that you just can't control in footy as well. And there's an opposition, there's injuries, there's umpiring decisions. So it's an imperfect sport. And we get judged as if we need to be perfect, both players and coaches at times. So it is what it is. I know what's coming. I'm ready for it.
And you talk about Formula One footy. Do you expect that sort of process of working out exactly where you're at? You still need to see some actual games to work that out?
It's really hard in AFL to work out exactly where you're at because of the draw. So once upon a time we could wait till, say, the end of round 17 and everyone's played everyone. But how the draw is now, even at round 17, not everyone's played everyone at times. So it'll take some time to work this season out. I personally think it's going to be the most competitive season of AFL footy in a long time. I think there are probably, we bat down to maybe 16 teams who have legitimately got a finals aspirations. So I think it's going to be a fascinating season.
So does that fill you with optimism, knowing that, you know, if it does bat that deep, then anything could be possible for any side in that regard?
That's the great. That is, you asked me whether I was excited about round one. One of the great things about round one is you can be whoever you want to be. People assume because of how you performed last year, that's exactly how you're going to perform this year. Or people think there's going to be this incremental increase in performance. It doesn't always happen that way. And that's the exciting bit. I'm sure most of Australia will be watching Carlton Richmond, and we'll have some judgments about Carlton Richmond after tonight, but in 5 weeks' time that all might change again.
How well prepared do you think you are to making a push for the finals this season?
I'm very happy with our preparation. So I couldn't ask any more of the players what they've done physically. They've had great buy-in to what I've been asking them to do. We've had a strong NAB Cup, but at the end of the day, as I spoke before, we're now to go into the Formula One race. So now we'll actually see it at flat-out pace and see whether we can get where we need to go.
Do you have any theory why you think that the competition is going to be so even this year?
Yeah, well, I think the draft and how the draft's been set up, but also the change of players from club to club as well. So I don't want to actually go through the individual teams, but we've seen GWS and Gold Coast, the two new clubs, come in with all the talent, all the young talent, so they've had it, and now they've had a period of time to work out which young talent they want to hang on to and going to invest into. But then the other thing that's happened is they've been able to trade some players away and add some experience. So those two teams have really improved. And then we've had probably some other teams, like even Brisbane, who've been able to add a number of players to their list as well. So across the board for mine, there's been an equalling of the talent across AFL this year.
Do you think Hawthorn and Hawthorn and Sydney will still be right up there?
I think Hawthorn and Sydney will still be very strong teams based on their lists.
We talked about rotations before. What did you run during the practice matches?
I think we got close. Well, the first two practice games were unlimited, actually, Jasper, so we could do whatever we liked. I only really took interest in them last week, and I think we were allowed to have 120. I think we were 119. That's off the top of my head. So that seemed to work pretty well, although last week the sub was different, so we're back to only 3 interchange this week. I don't expect it to have any impact on the game style that we want to play.
Would you like to see any diligence this weekend?
No.
You had a couple of clear objectives you want to get out of the pre-season. How confident are you in knowing what you'll get on Sunday?
G'day, Matt. How you going? Really good. There's a level of we're not quite sure. We'll wait and see. I was happy with the 3 games. We probably in all 3 games though we weren't able to play complete 4 quarters of the football that I'm hoping that we can play. So we're up against good opposition this weekend. So will we be able to play it for 4 quarters? Maybe not. Hopefully we play more of it and we can get the result we're after.
Brad Krause tracking all right?
Spoke with Brad yesterday, so he's in at the club. I think he's got maybe 4 more weeks with the moon boot on, but he's in good spirits. He's a resilient kid. He's overcome some injuries in the past. We're very confident that we'll see some good footy from Brad this year.
What are you expecting from Tex in his first official game as skipper?
I expect what he delivers every game, be a focus up forward for us, kick some goals, give some goals off, play good team defence and lead how he has in the NAB Cup.
And Nathan Van Berlo, is he one that we can say is probably going to make his return after so long out?
I've been really happy with his NAB Cup form, but again, I'm about to have match committee. I'll hear what the rest of the coaching group think.
How's Camporelli been performing as assistant? You said you'd be his right-hand man.
No, Scott's been going really well. So both Scott and Doc Clark basically look after the stoppages. Adelaide traditionally has been a really strong stoppage team. That'll be a really key element in this game, though, up against Goldstein. So Jacobs v Goldstein, it's sort of a match within a match, and then at ground level as well. They're a very strong midfield group, and we'd like to think we can match them.
As a percentage now, how much of your game or how much of the game overall is quantifiable as structured? That you can say, okay, I want you here and I want you there.
That's probably where the game has evolved to, probably since when I first came into the game, even as a player. There was rarely would I get, when I first started playing, John Cale coached me at Collingwood, not being disrespectful for John, but across the industry, there was very little structure that a player was told, you need, in this position, you need to stand here or do this. It was still basically just go and play, go harder at the ball, run faster for longer than the opposition. Whereas now the structure has got to the point where we are very organised. Some teams better than others, but we try and get into a shape both offensively and defensively, and within the competition, teams probably have a varying degree of that. But at the end of the day, it's still a random game. It's played with an oval ball on the biggest playing field of any sport with the most players on it. So if you think that you can make it as structured as, say, American football or something like, or even soccer, you are kidding yourself.
It would be remiss of me not to ask, but it's a sensitive issue. The whole Essendon thing, have you got a view?
Oh, the view, and it's probably a bit of a fan's view, is I'd love not to have to talk about it anymore and just get on with footy. And I'll probably leave it to, the lawyers or whatever has to happen from now on. I just think it's great, though, that this year, hopefully, we can have a season of footy without having to talk about it.